Yo, what up, Street Talks? There, Kim. All right, the thought. This one is about self-actualization, and artistic self-actualization. Why this is important, what it means, and so forth. So first and foremost, why self-actualization, and why is this an interesting goal? So basically my gist is, I've been reading Aristotle's Metaphysics, and it's actually a pretty interesting read. I think I've always been a little suspicious of metaphysics in general, because it just seems like a lot of people who talk metaphysics or are interested in metaphysics tend to be thinkers and philosophers who just want to seem fancy for the sake of being fancy, rather than, thinking of things which I consider of having of some sort of pragmatic worth. However, the usefulness, I think, of studying metaphysics or think about metaphysics is like, what are the forms of physics principles we could think about in terms of actualizing human potential? So I think ultimately for me, self-actualization is the thing that actually interests me the most. Human actualization. And I think the weird bias we have in today's world is we think we want to actualize technology for the sake of actualizing technology. So especially a lot of people in Silicon Valley, they think it's like technology as a sake unto itself. Whereas I think the better way to think about it is technology as a means to actualize human potential. Now, the problem is, I think a lot of today's world, the tricky thing with technology, not all technology is created equal, and there are certain types of technology which actually stunt human potential, and certain types of technology which actualize human potential. So for example, I think photography video is good for humans. Photography and video is good for actualizing artistic, creative, philosophical potential, and anything that can motivate us or set us into motion tend to be good, right? So, having turbo thoughts or thoughts that kind of get you going, thoughts that inspire you and motivate you are very good. And things which, prevent you from doing things, tend to be bad. And I think what inspires me is like striving, we're alive obviously, so how can we strive to extract the maximum potential or happiness or joy, or to actualize ourselves, art, to our greatest capacity. And in some ways, I hope I don't, all my thoughts, everything is always in a state of becoming. I hope that I never figure out the absolute answer, or else life would get boring. So for me, the constant striving and the constant iteration of my thoughts is what makes all of this kind of fun, beautiful, and meaningful. If everything was too clearly charted and too easy obvious, then it would not be fun for me at all. So then the next thought is, how does one actually self-actualize themselves, and what is the maximal, what is the end game? What is there a certain peak or an end to human actualization, or is it something that could happen indefinitely? So certainly death is the ultimate creative constraint which binds all of us, no matter how rich, smart, or skilled we are. We're all gonna die, and I think in some ways we all should die. And my thought is, life without death isn't a life worth living, because death is what makes life beautiful. And so I think it does seem like the notion of conservation of energy is kind of a good one. Is, you know, every single day you only have a certain amount of energy and, you know, force, and the more you expend force and mental energy or physical energy or power onto things that you don't really care for, it tends to be like energy wasted. So to use an inappropriate metaphor, so if you imagine if you started off the day and you just rubbed one out real quick, you would probably have less physiological energy or force to pursue the day. Similarly speaking, if you're going to try 1 rep max deadlift, you probably don't want to blow your load before doing it. It seems that to conserve our energy, to recharge our energy, and to use it mindfully or wisely seems to be the goal. And I think that's a really important principle, is this principle of wisdom. And because, we think that what we want is to be rich and stuff like that, but I think more interesting than money is wisdom. So wisdom towards pursuing what is beneficial to you and society and the rest of the world and future versions of humanity, and to avoid what's not important. And also part of it too is like a physiological joy. Like, I don't want to wake up every day feeling miserable, and typically I prefer having a good mood. And for me, the reason why I like having a good mood is that the better my mood, the more interesting turbo thoughts that I could share with you, and it ends up becoming kind of like this like positive flywheel, where my good mood and stuff like that inspires me to do more and create more, and hopefully help others and help myself more.
Sort of accidental in its terms.
And so I suppose when it comes to notions of self-actualization, think about deepening your own wisdom, deepening your own activity, and thinking about the artistic and creative impact you desire to make.